Hello everyone, myself A.S. Bhandare. Today we are going to see the new concept in a C programming, that is structure. As we have already seen in a C programming language, there are the basic variable data types that are nothing but integer, float and character. So when we need to store a single value at a time, then we use the simple variables as per our requirement. That is, we can use the integer, float or character data types. Nextly, if we want to make the group of the data, then we can use the array. When we want to store the multiple values of the same data type, then we use the array. So it is this we have already seen the concept in our last lecture that arrays stores the multiple values of the same data type. But it is restriction that the array is able to store only the multiple values having same data type. So it is the compulsion that you are allowed to make the group of the same data type, and hence it will be put down some limitations on the array that whenever we want to store the multiple values of the different data types, then in that case array does not work. So in these cases, how we can be find the solution to handle these cases where we want to store the different data variables of the different data type. That means the situation is that I want to collect the data of integer, float, character, this all kind of a mixing of all data variables. So it is not possible with a single variable, it is not possible with an array. Then what is the solution for this one? So in this situation, we need to refer a group of variables with same name. Then we can use the data type called as the structure. So whenever there is a need to store the data elements or the variables of the different data types, then instead of using the array, we can use the structure. We can define structure as it is a collection of different variables of different data items together which can be referred with the same name. So all the rest of the things will be remains as in the same of an array, but the basic difference between the array and a structure is that array stores the same data elements. In converse to that, if we want to make the group of the variables having different data type, then we use the concept called as the structure. With the use of the structure, it becomes very convenient to handle all kind of the data elements. So we can summarize that a structure is an collection is nothing but a collection of the different types of the data under the one name. We can include different types of the data items within a structure. With the use of the structure, it becomes very convenient to handle all these data items. Structure is a user defined data type, as user can decide the number of and type of the data items to be included inside the structure. We will be just see this meaning of this sentence very clearly in the further slides. The structure can be used by creating the variables which can be manipulated in the same way as a variable of standard data type. So different kinds of entities, like whenever there is a need or to store the student record or some kind of an employee's record or so bank details, bank account details, then in such a situation where we require the combination of the different data elements, within that this structure are efficiently used. Nextly, now we will be just see first of all how the structure is going to be declared. So obviously there is some kind of a syntax or a predefined method is available in a C processor, that how we can be use the structure declaration. The declaration of the structure specifies the collection of different data items into a single unit without assigning any values to them. So we can be decide how the structure is going to be declared, as we know that according to the definition, the structure is the collection of the different data item. So to indicate or decide that structure, we should have to use the keyword as struct, struct. Then it is followed with the name of the structure, as we use the variable name, array name, function name. Similarly, we can be declared any kind of a valid structure name, but it is have started with a keyword as an struct, and that one is going to be distinguished from the array itself. Then within a pair of the curly bracket, we should have to be mentioned the different data variables. So it is first indicating with field 1, field 2, field n, and so on. So these are the mixture of the different data variables. Another thing that we have to remember over here is that every time this structure is terminated with the semicolon. So points to be remembered for the syntax of the structure is that, first of all, use the keyword as an struct. You should have to be mention all the data variables within a pair of curly bracket. This closing curly bracket is always terminated with semicolon. We can see some few examples over here. So here I have used the keyword as an struct. Item is nothing but called as the structure name. Within a pair of the curly bracket, I have mentioned the different data variables. Obviously, this one is a collection of the different data variables. So I will be put down first variable as quantity, whose data type is integer. Second variable name is price, whose data type is float, and the third variable name is name, whose data type is character. That means you get the idea that with the help of a structure, I can make the group of the integer plus float plus character, and it is going to be terminated with semicolon. There is one another structure I have used to explain over here, that is struct student. Here struct is the keyword, student is the structure name. It is going to make the collection of the students different attributes, that is student's name, roll number, and fees. So name should be the character, roll number, these variables should have the data type as integer, and fee, this kind of a variable should have the data type as the float one. Next, there is one another thing we require to keep in mind, that there is some kind of the variables which are called as the structure variable. What is the structure variable? I have already told you that the structure is nothing but the mixture of the different data elements. Then what is the final data type of this group? For example, when the array, we are saying that array's data type is integer, means that array collects all the integer data type. But what about the structure? Because in the structure we are mixing some integer values, some float values, some character values, and so on. So what is the final data type of this structure? So it is very difficult to decide, and that's why the structured data type is nothing but called as user defined data type. And to deal with this data type, we will be required some kind of an helping hands, and these are nothing but called as the structure variable. It is possible to declare the variables of a structure either along with structure definition or after the structure definition. Structure variables are declared in a similar way to the declaration of any normal variables of any other data type. So what is the syntax for the declaration of the structure variable is that, first of all, you should have to be mentioned the structure name, then it is followed with the variable name. Either it may be a one variable or it may be consist of the number of the variables. For example, there is the keyword as an struct. Structure name is the item, and then it is followed with a variable name as I. So this I is nothing but called as the structure variable. There may be, it is not compulsory that a structure having only one variable, it may consist of the number of the variables, and that's why we can declare in another ways that mention the keyword as an struct, then it is followed with an structure name here is nothing but the item I1, I2, I3. So there are the three structure variables I1, I2 and I3. So these structure variables can be declared in a declaration part of your program. At the start, we know that we have to be declared all the necessary data before starting the programming. So whenever we are dealing with a structure programming, the structure variable should have to be declared at a start. And there are basically two ways to declare the structure variables. Let's see. So the first is declaring the structure variables separately. Separately means what? Here I have explained with the help of an example. I will be just take out the one structure whose name is a student. Keyword used as an struct student. So it is basically idea behind this structure is that it is going to be collect the different attributes of the student. What are the attributes? It may be a name of the student, age of the student, branch of the student and a gender of a student. So I have just mentioned it down. The name having data type as a character, age may having the data type as an integer, branch may be character and gender is the character. So it is a mixture of integer plus different kinds of character variables. So this one is a structure whose name is student. It is going to be terminated with semicolon. And after this declaration, we should have to declare the structure variables. What is the according to the syntax? First of all, you should have to be write down the keyword as struct, then structure name as a student, then it is followed with the variable name. So S1 and S2, these are called as the structure variables of the structure whose name is student. Either way, in this way, we can declare the structure variables separately. Conversely, there is one another type, that is declaring the structure variable with the structure definition itself. That is, instead of writing the struct student keyword separately, we can mention the structure variables after the completion of the closing bracket, and then it is going to be terminated with semicolon. So any of the way you can be declared the variables which are nothing but called as a structure variable. Though both are the valid one, however, this approach is not much recommended for the further operations. Now, just remember, I want to be just discuss one difference between what do you mean by the structure variables and what do you mean by the structure members. These two concepts we will be required very clearly. What do you mean by the data members or the structure members? These are nothing but the different variables that going to be make the group for the structure. So these are name, age, branch, gender. These are called as members. It is called as a data members or the structure members. And after the completion of the structure that going to be declared, it is nothing but called as a structure variable. So please remember, there are the two different concepts, that is data member, or it is also called as a structure members and variables. Members are nothing but the elements which are mentioned within the structure, and the variables are working as a helping hand or accessing the data members. Now let's see next concept, that is how we are accessing the structure or the data members. Now, right now I have just cleared down what do you mean by the data members. These are nothing but the variables which are used for making the group within the structure. Then we access this kind of data variables. So there is one particular way to access all these data members is that data members of the structure are accessed by using the structure name and the dot operator. This dot operator is also known as the reference operator or a period, or it may be called as a member access operator. Simply you can be called it as a dot operator. Dot operator connects a member with structure variable. Now you will be get the very important idea about what is the use of the dot operator. It is going for the, it is working as a bridge between a data members and the structure variables. So for example, what is the syntax we can be used for accessing the structure is that, first of all, you should have to write down the structure variable name. Then use the dot operator, then it is followed with a data member name. So in a previous example we know that s1 is the variable, structure variable, so I will be just access the data member roll number with the help of a structure variable as structure variable s1 dot roll number. So this one is nothing but a syntax that how we can access the structure members with the structure variables. So first of all we should have to write down the variable name, then dot operator followed with the data member. For example, I will be explaining this the same concept here. The one structure I have declared whose name is employee. First of all use the keyword as an struct followed with a structure name as employee. So what I want to collect the information over here, that I am going to collect the different attributes of the employees that are nothing but what is the name, age and the salary of the employee. So I will be make the group of all these variables, the name, age having data type as an integer, and the third one is a salary whose data type is float. So employee is the structure who is making the group of one character variable, one integer variable and one float variable. Then it is going to be terminated closed with a closing bracket, and after that just declared one variable. Now emp1, that is employee 1, here it is nothing but called as a structure variable. Name, age and salary, these are called as a structure members. So how we can access the members with the help of variable is that first of all write the variable name, that is employee 1 dot name. So it will access the emp1's name. emp1 dot age, so it is useful to access the age of the employee number 1. emp1 dot salary, so it will access the emp1 or the employee 1's salary. So in this way we are able to access the data members with the help of data variables. We can be just go with some kind of valid operations whenever we are accessing the data variable, is that we can be initialize the values for that particular variable, that is emp1.name is equal to Rahul, emp1.age is equal to 40, means that the value of the variable age of the emp1 is equal to 40. Similarly you can declare the salary is equal to 56,500.00, as this one is on a float value, so we should have to be mentioned the fraction value itself. So in short this one is nothing but a discussion about the structure. We can remember the key points in a structure lecture is that structure is nothing but the group of the data items having different data types. Then we should have to use the keyword as an struct for the declaration. Always declaration is terminated with a semicolon. All the group of the variables which are used within a declaration, these are nothing but called as a structure members or the data members. Then there is one variable which is nothing but called as a structure variable. This structure variable is used for accessing the different kinds of data members. Whenever we are accessing the data members, at the same time we can be initialize the value with the help of struct.